I think one of the things that causes the most confusion is the distinction between the terms Elision and Liaison. What is the difference between these two words?
That is something that I find myself having to clarify and explain a lot. I think it's because, unfortunately, the words almost sound the same, and it's sometimes maybe just hard to keep it straight which one is which. So just to clarify, an elision is when you drop a sound, you drop the final mute schwa of a word in poetic context. A liaison is almost something that's completely the opposite, because that's adding a sound that wasn't there to start with. So if we have a word that ends with a silent consonant that is followed by a word that starts with a vowel, in some cases, that silent final consonant will actually become pronounced. So elision, we remove a sound. Liaison, we add a sound. There are rules that govern both situations here, and especially for liaison, there's a lot of very complex rules that one has to get familiar with, and we're not going to get into those now.
With the elision, we're getting rid of the final sound because the next word starts with a vowel, right? So we just head to the next vowel.
That's correct. It allows for a little bit of a smoother transition from word to word, because French tends to try and avoid vowel collisions between words. Not always, but in some cases, yes, especially if we're talking about a final schwa. Mm-hmm. So maybe there's a great example that we can use here just to make this very clear and maybe settle the discussion once and for all. This is from L'Invitation au Voyage by Duparc. In the very opening, we have both cases that are very clearly laid out. Mon enfant, ma sœur, songe à la douceur d'aller là-bas vivre ensemble, aimer à loisir, aimer et mourir.
The first two words, we get a liaison.
That's correct. So the liaison, we get a few in here. We have mon enfant, because the word mon technically has a silent N, but when it's followed by a vowel, the N becomes pronounced. So mon enfant. And then towards the end of the verse, we have twice the liaison between aimer and the next word. So aimer à loisir and aimer et mourir. So these are liaisons.
So this R does get pronounced here, but we don't change the vowel in front of it.
That's correct. The vowel remains the same, but the R that was silent in the word on its own, the word is aimer, the infinitive of the verb to love, it becomes pronounced because of the liaison here. Okay. Now, we also have elisions in this example. In the second part of the verse, songe à la douceur. So the word songe, we could pronounce the final schwa here and say songe, which in poetry is very common to actually pronounce those final weak schwas. But because it is followed by a vowel right afterwards, we don't do that here. So we elide this schwa and go straight from son to a, songe à, and not songe à la douceur.
And the same thing in the next line?
Same thing exactly happens between vivre and ensemble. So instead of saying vivre ensemble, we will say vivre ensemble. We connect the two that way.